Good evening, good morning, good night, YouTubers. Mike Martins here with the Mike Martins channel. Guys, don't forget to join me Wednesday night, 6:30. Is it 6:30? Yeah, 6:30 p.m. Western Seaboard time for trends in the housing market. I might have an early start at 6 before we kick off any of the calls. Big hug to everyone watching me and following me. And big hug to everyone that's been tipping me in the tip jar. And I got a couple of people tip me the other day from New Zealand. Wow. Thank you so much. So this is this is a story that's totally affecting all the English-speaking countries, major cities. I've heard reports from people from Sydney, from Auckland, from Melbourne, Vancouver. Not really Toronto, but Vancouver, Seattle, parts of California now, Oregon, parts of Massachusetts. What am I talking about? Social isolation. So my friend sent me this link, and I want to kind of share it with you guys because I went many years alone in Vancouver. Owned a very successful business, very impressive business. Had my own place, my car, had a Corvette. And I'm not just trying to say, oh, he had a Corvette, thinks that's going to make him get girls. No, I just like nice, sporty-looking, fast cars, okay? And, yeah, I just lived a good life. Had a good staff. But one thing I couldn't master or couldn't fix was isolation. And it's pretty lonely. Meet the Vancouverites on the front lines of social isolation. I'm so lonely in Vancouver, I don't know what to do anymore. This was posted yesterday. I'm with this guy. Believe me, buddy, I'm on your team, man. I'm on your team. I know what you're going through. I know what it is, and I know how you feel. Winston Nguyen has been lonely for as long as he can remember. In the second grade, he wrote his phone number on tiny strips of paper and passed them to each of his Burnaby classmates in hope of gaining friends. Nguyen winces at the memory as he tells his story. I guess my teacher thought it was inappropriate, and I believe she took all the papers back, he remembers. I don't know why. I was only 6 years old then. Since then, Nguyen, now 32, has tried everything he can think of to find a social connection in Vancouver. Church, festivals, running groups. Eventually, at age 29, joining the ranks of the lonely crying and out for help on Reddit. The post entitled, "So Lonely in Vancouver, I Don't Know What to Do Anymore," asked for help improving his friend-making strategy. He hasn't been able to make a true friend in the last 2 years. He writes in his post at times, he's been so dejected he hasn't been able to get out of bed. Wow. Okay, I wasn't lying in bed like Brian Wilson did. That's a true story, by the way. But no, I had my business going, I had my thing going, and I was on like Plenty of Fish a lot. And the only problem with Plenty of Fish is you got to put your height in. And I'm only like 5'6", or 5'5", 5'6". Well, I'm 5'6". I'm 5'6", 5'7". I'm a little SHI. So I'm not a big guy. But there was no way to mask your height on that. So no one would ever message me ever. I think I messaged every girl on there twice. And nobody messaged me back. So I did something. I deleted my account and I changed my photos. Same person. I didn't change my photos as in like a different person. Same photos. But I changed my height. And I put 6'3". I was getting 10 to 13 messages a day. There was one day where I didn't check it for 3 days and I got 49 messages. It boils down to height. Women do not want to date short guys in Vancouver. Okay, I'm not saying around the world. When I lived in Miami, it was a very different story. It was very. A lot of the Latino women are generally not that tall already. They're in their four fives, low fives. And Puerto Rican women, same thing. They really don't care about height. And those cultures, they don't care about height at all. And, but in Vancouver, ooh, holy max. Anyways, so this is the Reddit post here, okay? So lonely in Vancouver that I don't know what to do anymore. I'm a 20-year-old male and lived my whole life in Vancouver, but I don't feel connected at all. For a number of years, I battled a number of health conditions. While all my old friends got married and moved away, I've made a full recovery, but the past 2 years, I haven't been able to make anyone I would truly consider a friend. Oh, okay, make anyone truly good. Okay. I was never the most social person, but after experiencing so many discouraging results, I'm finding it difficult quite often to get out of bed and continue trying to meet people. I've been to all sports meetup events, social and volunteer groups, and I just don't know what to do anymore. It feels that every time something promising happens, that it's taken away due to unforeseen circumstances. I would greatly appreciate any advice or constructive input. Thank you. And lonely, so this is on Reddit. Lonely young people across the city are using Reddit to reach out. So the only people I engaged with when I lived in Vancouver were like Mexicans. Mexicans and people from Brazil are the people I kept in touch with because they were the only people that spoke to me on a regular basis. I had, this is when I was I was single. I had people call me, "Hey, Mike, ¿cómo estás? ¿Estás bien? ¿Dónde estás? Quiero salir." A lot of friends would call me to go to a bar. They're like, "Come, I'll buy you a drink. I'll pay your cover. Come on, Mike. Essay, let's go, man." So it was okay. It was fine because I had that culture at least that, and it was good because I wouldn't even speak English. It was perfect. I get to practice my Spanish in Vancouver, right? But outside of that clique of the whole Latino America and then the whole Brazilian and the Portuguese group at the Portuguese church, outside of those groups, it was you can't initiate anything. You know what I'm saying? Young adults between 25 and 35 are the hardest hit by social isolation in Metro Vancouver, according to the Vancouver Foundation's Connections and Engagement Report, released in December 2017. This report echoes the findings of the Foundation's 2012 study, which first drew attention to the widespread concern over disconnection in the city. So here's the other article here. Lonely in Vancouver, so are 30% of young people. So, a quick search on Reddit turns up dozens of comments from young people who say they can't seem to crack the social code in Metro Vancouver and can't figure out what they are doing wrong. Guys, it's not just Vancouver. Seattle's like that too. Okay? Lots of parts of California are becoming like that too. So, I know Sydney's like that too. I know... See, Portugal's not like this. It's so not like this in Portugal. You want to make friends in Portugal? Go outside and pretend to be talking on a payphone outside a bar. You'll have people tap you on the shoulder. I'm not kidding, okay? And just give you a few signals and then come back and bring you outside a beer. Outside. They'll bring you... Because you can drink outside in Portugal. They'll just come in and bring you a beer while you're standing there. Then you hang up the phone and go inside and hang out with everybody. It's weird. Like, it's really weird in parts of Europe. Like, Portugal, and I think when I was in I was in a UK bar in Thailand, and everybody was there from the UK. A lot of expats and a lot of British people there. And everybody liked me. They're like, "Hey, Mikey, come and sit with us, man." And like this and that, and buy me everybody, like, "Guys, let me buy everyone around." It's like, no, Mikey, don't worry about it. Your money's no good. Here, have a beer, man, and this and that. It's like, wow. But I don't know. Okay, so let's continue. The Vancouver Foundation's research okay, we did this. Affordability might be getting in the way of making connections. A third of under 35 said that more financial resources would make it easier to make friends. These are not seniors, nor are they newcomers struggling to learn English. They are often the demographic that is overlooked in the discussion of social isolation, young, employed, and making an effort. That's very true. Are we flaky? After decades of loneliness in his hometown, Yuen has his own theory to explain why isolation thrives in the Lower Mainland. He believes working to keep your head above water in this city has made it acceptable to back out of commitment. Flaky is a word used by Charles Wang, a volunteer at the Crisis Intervention and Suicide Prevention Center, BC. It is a criticism often hurled at young people, but it's one that Charles is qualified to throw around. Volunteers like him are anything but flaky. At the Crisis Center, they make a serious commitment to accompany the lonely in their darkest moments for at least 250 hours in a year. Wow, it's that bad, eh? Staff there can answer only about half of the approximately 88,000 calls received each year. Some regular callers depend on daily connection. Others reach out when the loneliness becomes too much to bear alone, said Wang. Commitment has a cost. The call center itself, it's filled with murmurs of soothing and soft voices. We're all lonely. Vancouver event aims to end stigma around loneliness. Let's open this guy in a new tab. It may sound calm, but Wang calls it work, frontline stuff. It's a big investment of time and emotional energy, and calls can last hours, he said. In the moments, I feel incredibly connected to those callers where they are in their pain, but that's a cost to that connection. Communities across BC bring ideas to the table to fight social isolation. I don't think you could... I think it has to do with the culture itself, the Vancouver culture. The Vancouver rainy, gray in the winter. Like sometimes it rains 20 days, 30 days straight, like straight rain, gray, depressing. Gotham City, that kind of feel of Gotham City. I think that's that culture itself, like that whole, that umbrella group. It's just what it is, and I try to fit into groups and stuff. I dance salsa, merengue, bachata. I'm a very good salsa dancer myself. And I would just go to Latin clubs, and I would dance salsa, bachata all night with all different girls, and meet different people, and buy drinks, and have a good time, right? The most recent data from the Vancouver Foundation suggests it's hard to blame young Vancouverites for being flaky when many feel their connection in the city is uncertain. Half of those under 35 who responded to the survey said they did not feel a strong sense of belonging in their neighborhoods. More than half said they were unsure whether they would still be in the same neighborhood next year. Yuen said the odds may be stacked against him, but he plans to keep searching for a connection. I'm not giving up. The alternative isn't very nice. It's just retreating and sitting at home by myself. I want to try to live a better life. Pretty lonely. This is a part of a radio and web series that looks into why many Metro Vancouver residents in their 20s and 30s experience social isolation. So let me see how many years I was alone. I think it was 10, 11, 12. It was like 6 years or 7 years. I think I was 6 years completely celibate. Completely. I could have been a priest for 6-7 years if I wanted to. The 5-part radio series, which airs on CBC Radio from November 19th to 23rd, is produced by Jennifer Wilson. So there it is there, guys. Now, let's go here. Lonely in Vancouver, so are 30% of young people. And it's I don't know why people just don't want to connect with each other. A new report by Vancouver Foundation found nearly 18 to 24-year-olds across the region experience loneliness almost always or often. Big cities can be a challenging place to make connections for any age, but in Metro Vancouver, young adults are having particularly lonely time. A new report by Vancouver Foundation found that nearly a third of 18 to 24-year-olds across the region experience loneliness almost always or often. Of the 3,800 people surveyed, Metro Vancouver, just 14% of the general population say they feel lonely frequently. Okay, this is a good one. It's part of a larger issue across the region of financial stresses, uncertainty about the future, and being spread out geographically. It's a trade-off between affordability and time, Trung said. When they are spending time with other people, they aren't spending time making money. That's very true. That's a very good point right there. Nearly half the people with a household income under 20 large spend more time alone than they want. The report found that 37% of people who make between 20 to 40 large say they spend too much time alone, pushed out. Issues of affordability and geography are tightly linked, Trung said, and impact young people's ability to maintain friendships. But how much indebted are these young people? That's the thing. Why loneliness can be as unhealthy as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Okay, and it was 2 years ago I spoke to George Norrie from Coast to Coast, and we were talking about loneliness, and no, it wasn't 2 years. This is a long time ago. Hold on a sec. We're in 2018, eh? Okay, it was like 2012. This is way before I met my wife. Sorry. It was 2012. And I was talking to George Norrie from Coast to Coast. I used to call into the show quite frequently to give my input on whatever, you know. And he was talking about loneliness, and I called in. And there was actually he was discussing with a guest on the show that loneliness is actually more dangerous than being obese. I was like, what? And then when you start thinking about it, and actually what's more dangerous, being obese or being lonely? I think the worst of all would be obese and lonely, but you're worse off being lonely than obese. So social isolation is dangerous. I think it's very dangerous. Maybe if I was cooler, more people would be open about feeling isolated, says woman who struggles with it. People don't know how to talk about loneliness, says Quebec resident Marcy O'Connor, who adds in a snuck up after she moved away from her family. Marcy O'Connor, a mother of 2 teenagers, struggles with her comfort, independent self, and reoccurring loneliness, feelings that psychologists say are increasingly posing a public health challenges. I want to see the cigarette part here. Demographics are another challenge. Earlier this month, Statistics Canada released a new information from 2016 census suggesting a record of number of households of 28.2% have only one person living in them. What? It's comparable to the risk of smoking up to 15 cigarettes a day. Holt Lundstad said in an interview, it exceeds the risk of alcohol consumption, it exceeds the risk of physical inactivity, obesity, and it exceeds the risk of air pollution. So structural, presence or absence of others, functional, what relationships do, and quality, the positive or negative aspects of a relationship. While social isolation has to do with objectively lacking relationships, loneliness is about how you perceive your level of social support, psychologists say. As the population ages, loneliness and social isolation are on the rise, said Dr. Narseen Kariti, a clinical psychologist and gerontologist and at the Romant Institute of Baycrest Health Sciences in Toronto. You see what? Once I met my wife, for some reason, we just really clicked. big time. And she found my jokes funny. She found me handsome. And she put up my crap. And I'm like, wow, I got to marry this girl. This girl is, she's like, she's so loyal. She's always, making sure I'm okay. And then now that we have kids together, my kids love me. They love me so much. My daughter, Daddy, Daddy, she runs to me. She's only 2. She runs to me. She's running like this. I pick her up and kiss her, and she's like, I love you, Daddy. Oh, it feels so good. Once you meet that soulmate or somebody you want to spend the rest of your life with and have children with, then loneliness doesn't, it's like, it's gone. Yeah. It's like that loneliness disappears. When my baby cries at night, sometimes my daughter, she's 2. She cries at night and she wants water. She goes check on Daddy, and sometimes when I'm when I'm at the shop, sometimes on Fridays I'm there till late, and we're having Yu-Gi-Oh nights. So I'm there till pretty late sometimes. We're playing games, and a lot of customers come in on Fridays. And my daughter would go check in my room to see if I'm home, and then she'd go ask my mom, and then both my kids would sit up in the front canopy. That we have this like canopy window where they'd sit at the window to see when I come home. And they just sit there and wait for me to come home. It's like, you don't understand. Like, for the longest time, I was in this situation for many years. Every girl I'd meet would be like, no, you're too short. Oh, no, you're too fat. Or you're too stubby. Or you're too obnoxious. We're all lonely. Vancouver event aims to end the stigma around loneliness. Study gathering came on the heels of new study says that Vancouver and Toronto are some of the unhappiest cities. Dozens of people gathered in the rain Sunday to simply say hello to one another and make conversation at an event organized explicitly to end social isolation. The event held on Vancouver's Arbutus Greenway came to the heels of new study released last week said Vancouver and Toronto are the unhappiest cities in Canada. It could be. It's got to be it's just the culture. It's just the way the culture is molded, right? Like, I'll give you an example. There's parts of Toronto, like when I go to Toronto, I go to the Latin area or the Portuguese area, and when I'm in the Latin area, or I go to a like Plaza Flamingo or go dance some salsa at El Rancho and stuff. So there's no problems at all. It's fine. Everyone's social. Girls come up, hey, you want to dance? It's a very social network. It's very not so anti. Everyone's talking. Everyone's waving. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Está bien. Mira, let's talk. Vamos a hablar un rato. Vamos queros un trago, buy a drink, hang out. But it's really weird when you're outside of the Latin culture. I go to a Portuguese bar with my friend Nuno when I went. We went to 2 Portuguese bars. So everybody came in, wanted to know me. Hey man, what's going on? Come sit here, man. I'll buy you some meat, man. Come over here, we'll get some steak. This and that. It's like, holy crap, this is so good. You know what I'm saying? But it's because I'm in those cultures. I speak the language. I understand it. I know where they're coming from. I've been to their countries. I understand. And I just think it's that whole Anglo-American English empire. I think it's more, hi sir, how are you? Good to see you. Thank you. Have a good day. Don't forget to hand that in the morning. Thank you. Goodbye. Like that's how I feel it as. Like when I'm speaking in Spanish, there's so much more feeling to the language. Same thing with Portuguese. When I'm speaking, I always speak Portuguese to my parents. Like every day if I call my mom, it's like, oh, tudo bem? Sim, eu vou precisar usar o teu carro. Se você pode passar aqui. Like that. We just talk. How's grandma does this, that, and you could feel it in the thing. And the same thing when I speak Spanish. It's the same thing. You just want to speak Spanish. You don't want to speak English if the person speaks Spanish. And then we're not trying to be rude. Oh, is it rude to speak another language? It's like, no, it's not that. It's just there's so much more feeling in those languages. You feel it when you're talking to somebody. And I just see that more English, that whole culture, more of a, yes, okay, hand that in tomorrow. Have a good day. And you can't say, oh, God bless you, like you would say in Spanish or You can't say that, Let's move on. So they had this thing at the park where people meet up, say hi, talk, socially talk. See, Deirdre on the right speaks to another attendee at the event in Vancouver on September 9th, 2018, aimed at helping people break isolation in the city. So there are groups out there to try and tackle this. Communities across BC bring ideas to the table to fight social isolation. At the table, event connected people around the province to discuss issues in their communities. Potlucks, coffee dates, and pizza parties were held all over the province Thursday to address the growing feelings of isolation and loneliness in BC communities. Get a family, grow a family like me. I'm just so grateful. My daughter comes and wakes me up in the morning. My son comes and checks on me. My son always wants me to play Batman with him. Ever since I got that, it's like my whole life turned around, you know what I'm saying? A 2017 report by the Vancouver Foundation shows that isolation and loneliness are among the top concerns for residents of Metro Vancouver. And this year, the foundation turned to the community for ideas on how to change that. The foundation, founded 1943, distributes millions each year to community projects and programs, as well as registered charities and partnership with donors. Okay, guys, this has been around since 1943. This is like World War II was still going on. Holy. So basically, this is not a new thing. This has been going on for a while. Because when I was in Miami, Fort Lauderdale, 5 years, it's different. Right? I lived in a gated community with condos. It was really nice. We're all around a lake. This beautiful lake and these condos around the lake and the tennis courts and pools. It was, hey, knocking on my door. Yo, Mikey, I got to go downtown Miami. You want to come with me? I got to get some parts. But you were talking Spanish. I got to get some parts for my car. Come with me. Okay, let's go. I'll lock my door. Let's go to Miami and pick up some parts for your car. Like my friend Jesus. He, 3 times a day. Sitting outside my stairs. Hey, yo, Mikey. But it would be in Spanish. I got a date tonight. She's got a sister. You want to come with me? I'm like, sure. Let me get dressed. We'll go. And he'd come to my house, pick me up, and we go. It's not like he's using me to drive him around. It's not even that. It's very different. And just tons of friends and socialness. That when I was in Miami, parts of Atlanta, parts of even Massachusetts, parts of Rhode Island, you have these communities, right? And they're not cliques. They're very open. Everyone's there. Everyone's eating barbecue. Everyone's having a good time. Block parties. But what I notice is when you have a mass migration of people from Cuba, Puerto Rico, Venezuela, and when people think of that, they think, oh, it's going to bring violence. No way, man. No way. When you have a mass migration, let's say, of Puerto Ricans and Mexicans, and they're all living together and everyone's working together, it's so different because you got the Latin swing, the pretty girls, the spicy food, that whole connection, you know what I'm saying? That whole Latin swing, And it's different, Vancouver has this shell. Toronto. When I was in Toronto, I went to a Catholic high school, very social. Everybody was everyone had friends. I was bullied in high school, big time. I had people waiting for me outside to kick my butt after school for no reason. They just didn't like me. And there was always people jealous of somebody. It was always like that. And that's why I was always happy for everybody when they achieved something or when they made it somewhere or they got married to somebody. I was always happy. I was always there to support, you know what I'm saying? And it's very different. How is it here in this small town? Everyone says hi to me. Some people know me by me, and I'm embarrassed because I don't know who they are. Like, oh, hey, Mike, how you doing? I'm like, hey, you, how are you? I don't know their name, right? Some people I've never met, but they know me by name. Sometimes, even when I'm sitting in my store, somebody come in, hey, Mike. I'm like, are you from my channel? No. You open this door? Yeah. My son talks about you all the time. I'm like, oh, cool. That's nice. That's so nice. But yeah. Anyways, guys, I want to know what you guys think. Social isolation, is it happening in your neck of the woods? Is this a disease that's going around? I know parts of Europe are not like that still. I know, I guarantee you go to South Portugal, to the Algarve. You go here to the Algarve. Watch this. You go to the Algarve. It's... Talk to Evan. Evan will tell you. You go to the Algarve, it's... Look at this. I want to organize something and marry my wife in this thing. Remarry my wife in this thing right here. Right here in Portugal. Get married, get a priest, everything before the tide rolls in. Get married in there when the sun hits a certain spot, the light comes in. It's so beautiful. Look at this. Look at these old castle ruins. Look at that. Oh yeah, Portugal's awesome. Portugal was neutral during World War I and World War II. And there's so much like this to check out. If you like snorkeling, if you like nightlife, this is the whole south of Portugal. This is the best part of Europe right here. This part is all beaches. And it's pretty warm all year round anyway. You can go January, February, March. Let's see, Algarve nightlife. So if you're in your 30s, 20s, 30s, it's safe. You don't have to worry. This is Albufeira nightclub in Portugal. I'm just trying to see if there's any other clubs. There's Mangoes. There's lots of down there in the Algarve, depending on what time in the winter you go, because a lot of people go on March break and stuff. Everyone speaks different. Well, everyone there speaks Portuguese, but the people visiting are from Germany, France, the UK, South Africa, Australia. There's people from everywhere. Dutch, Belgium. When I was there, I met like 50 different cultures when I was there. Yeah, you could drink on the street. So you guys see, they have a keg of beer outside on the street. It's, you know, and there's no violence. It's like they do all this protectionist stuff here in the West. But look, this guy has a plate. He's eating food on the street. Guy's smoking a cigarette, having a sandwich up there. You know. So this is a lot of places here that are they get a lot of accent from Brazil. Yeah, the Albufeira again. It's Albufeira. Albufeira is really nice. Realização de sua especial. Oh, there's a Brit right there, and there's another one right there. You can tell by the soccer jerseys. But yeah, no, Albufeira. Always wanted to work, travel to Portugal. I'm just reading what they say there. Look how tanned everybody is. You know when you see everyone tanned in the photo that they're having a good time? So what did I do? Well, I traveled a lot. So to break the whole loneliness thing, because I was so used to this kind of life where everyone was so social, then going to Vancouver and it's like, what the heck? I'm sorry for talking to you. I had to apologize to people. I'm sorry that I had a discussion with you. I'm going to leave right now. You're in the elevator. You're talking to one of your neighbors. Hey, how was your day, man? How was work? They look at you like you did something, you offended them. It's like, okay. And for the longest time, I thought there was something severely wrong with me socially. But yeah, you got to check out... oh yeah, K-Doc. I wonder if that place is still open. I wonder if K-Doc nightclub's still open. There it is, K-Doc. It's huge. Yeah, K-Doc nightclub in Portugal. Yeah. This is where you want to go. Yeah, you want to go here, man. I'm surprised. I wonder if that place is still open, K-Doc. Oh, yeah, Portugal's big time. Big time. Yeah, if you, like I said, if you guys are a lot of single guys, it's usually the guys that are the most isolated. That's just my, this is my finishing up here, guys. So Yeah, South Portugal. Lux Fragile Dance Club. Discoteca. Oh, it's so good. I can't believe K-Doc's still open. Let me see what else. There's the beaches. I showed you the clubs. And history. Oh, yeah, you mountain bike around there. Yeah, you mountain bike to all these places, by the way, eh? You just mountain bike. You rent a mountain bike or you pick one up. You just go check out these places, these walls, and these old towns. These old towns are connected to each other. So you could find little roads. You could take one little road and it takes you from the beach all the way down to all these different towns. And then another 5 kilometers, 8 kilometers. You hit another town like this. You stop. You read posts on windows. You look at the real estate, the little post office. Just say hi to people and just be forewarned. Once you're out of the tourist areas, it's like anything else. Make sure you brush up on some Portuguese. Obrigado. Cerveja, por favor. Churches everywhere. And it's safe. So I would never, ever recommend a country that is that's unsafe or dangerous or hazardous. Yeah. Oh, and there's golf there too. Algarve is more than golf and beaches. A lot of history here. There's King Alfonso right here. That's it right there, guys. Check it out. It's a world out there. There's another town in Algarve. Look at this. Look at that coral. That's awesome. Anyways, guys, I'm taking up too much of your time. Thanks for watching. If you watch, thanks for the tips in the tip jar, guys. That means a lot to me, man. It really does. Thank you.